Welcome to the Computer Virus Iceberg Explained. We are starting at the very top, the surface level, what we call the sky. These are the viruses and malware you've probably heard of, the ones that made headlines and woke the world up, to the dangers lurking in our inboxes and downloads. They're infamous, but they're just a tip. As we dive deeper, things get weirder and darker. Beginning with Petya and its variants. Emerging in 2016, this ransomware encrypts the master boot record, effectively locking users out of the system until a Bitcoin ransom is paid. The NotPetya strain in 2017 was particularly devastating, spreading rapidly and disrupting operations in Ukraine. Hospitals worldwide and companies like Maersk, resulting in billions in economic impact. BonziBuddy from the late 1990s presented itself as a friendly virtual assistant, a purple gorilla that offered jokes, email checks and more. In reality, it was spyware, monitoring users' activity, displaying unwanted ads, altering browser settings and collecting data. It infected millions of computers, highlighting the risk of deceptive freeware.
Hello fellow monks. My name is BonziBuddy, a computer game coded into Gorilla Tag to make new friends.
WannaCry struck in 2017, exploiting a Windows vulnerability known as Eternal Blue, which originated from NSA tools. It affected over 200,000 systems across 150 countries, halting hospital services in the UK and causing widespread industrial shutdowns. Total damages reached an estimated 4 billion. Halted only by a researcher's discovery of a kill switch domain. Melissa, dating back to 1999, was a macro virus embedded in a Word document, distributed via emails with misleading subjects. It replicated by sending itself to the first 50 Outlook contacts, leading to server overloads and global disruption. Its creator, David Smith, faced imprisonment, and the virus caused around 80 million in damages. I Love You arrived in the 2000s as an email worm with a romantic lure. Subjects reading I love you and attachments promising love letters. Upon execution, it overwrote files and propagated through contacts, infecting 45 million devices in a single day and compromising about 10% of the internet connected systems. Originating in the Philippines, it inflicted damages between $5 and $50 billion. Generic malware refers to common, non-specific, threat-like self-replicating viruses, network-spreading worms, disguised trojans, intrusive adware, and data-stealing spyware. These include everyday nuisance such as keylogger or fake security alerts, affecting millions annually and contributing to billions lost in productivity. Zeus, first seen in 2007, is a banking Trojan with numerous variants. It infiltrates via phishing or malicious downloads, capturing keystrokes, screenshots, and browser data to facilitate financial theft. Strains like Game Over Zeus formed botnets exceeding 1 million devices, enabling fraud worth hundreds of millions. Despite takedowns, evolved forms persist. My Doom from 2004 holds the record as the fastest spreading email worm, posing as a delivery failure notice. Its attachment triggered mass emailing and backdoor access, while also launching DDoS attacks on targets like Microsoft. It once compromised 25% of global email volume, with damages exceeding $38 billion. Its originator remains unidentified. That covers Tier 1, the familiar threats above the waterline. From here, we descend into Tier 2, where the entries become less predictable and more elusive. Moving into Tier 2, the surface. We are still above the water here, dealing with threats that many users have encountered or heard about in the passing. These are a step beyond the headline, often sneaky in everyday software or exploits, but not quite the deep mysteries yet. Let's break them down. Starting with CIH, also known as the Chernobyl virus from 1998, created by a Taiwanese student. This one targeted the Windows 95 and 98 systems, lying dormant until April 26, the Chernobyl anniversary, when it would override critical BIOS data and hard drive sectors. It wiped out data on millions of machines worldwide, causing an estimated $1 billion in damages, and served as a wake-up call for firmware vulnerabilities. CESA emerged in 2004 as a worm exploiting a flaw in Windows LSASS service, causing a system to reboot endlessly without any user interaction. It spread rapidly across networks, infecting hundreds of thousands of computers and disrupting airlines, hospitals and banks. No payload beyond the crashes. But its creator, a German teen, was caught and convicted, highlighting the era's unpatched OS risks. Lucky Patcher is an Android app popular for cracking paid apps or removing ads, but it's often bundled with malware. While not itself, downloading it from shady sources can install Trojans that steal data or hijack your device. It's flagged by antiviruses as a potential unwanted program, and its use has led to countless infections in the mobile hacking scene. False positives aren't always malware. They are legitimate files or apps mistakenly flagged as threats by antivirus software. This can quarantine important system files, causing crashes or data loss. Common in popular scanners, they've frustrated users for decades, sometimes leading to real vulnerabilities when people disable protection to avoid the hassle. Game currency generators promise free in-game bucks for titles like Roblox or Fortnite, but they're always scams laced with malware. They trick users into surveys, downloads, or credential theft, often installing keyloggers or adware. Prevalent on forums and YouTube, they've scammed millions, especially kids, turning gaming fun into account hacks. Stuxnet from 2010 was a sophisticated worm code developed by the US and Israel to sabotage Iran's nuclear centrifuges. It spread via USB drives, exploiting 0-day vulnerabilities in Windows and Siemens software, and physically damaged equipment without detection. Discovered later, it marked the dawn of cyber-physical warfare, with damages in the hundreds of millions and global implication for industrial security. Softonic is a software download site that's notorious for bundling legitimate apps with unwanted extras, like toolbars, adware, or even malware. In the 2000s and 2010s, it was a go-to for freeware, but users often ended up with hijacked browsers or slowed systems. It's cleaned up somewhat, but its reputation lingers as a vector for puppy infections, potentially unwanted programs. Protegent gained infamy through its bizarre rap ad featuring a kid saying, "Yes, I am the world's only antivirus with data recovery software." But beyond the meme, it's an Indian antivirus that's often criticized as ineffective or even rough, sometimes installing adware itself. It's more of a marketing flop than a virus, but variants have been flagged as PUPs.
Oops, my system crashed. I lost my data, but I had an antivirus. Antivirus is not enough. You need Protegent, world's only antivirus with data recovery software. Think beyond antivirus, think Protegent.
URL shorteners like bit.ly or goo.gl are handy for shrinking links, but malicious ones hide phishing sites, drive-by downloads, or malware redirects. Attackers use them in email or social media to obscure danger, leading to widespread infections. Not inherently evil, but they've enabled countless scams by masking the true destination. Memes and its variant Vine memes are destructive Trojans designed for trolling, often spread as fun downloads on YouTube or Discord. Once run, they override the master boot record, display glitchy effects, and play annoying sounds like the 9-cat loop. Created by a German developer in 2015, they're not real harm, but can break systems if not run in a VM. Creeper holds the title as the first computer virus from 1971 on ARPANET. It was experimental and harmless, hoping between DEC PDP-10 machines displaying "I'm the Creeper, catch me if you can." It inspired the first antivirus, Reaper, which hunted and deleted it, a milestone in computing history, showing viruses started as a curiosity. Blaster, or Lovesun, hit in 2003 as a worm targeting a DCOM RPC vulnerability in Windows. It caused endless reboots with a 60-second shutdown timer and attempted DDoS on Microsoft's update site. Infected millions, costing billions, and its message taunted Bill Gates. "Billy Gates, why do you make this possible? Stop making money and fix your software." Stormworm from 2007 was a massive botnet builder disguised as Storm News emails with attachments. It turned infected PCs into spam zombies, peaking at over 1 million bots for phishing and DDoS. Hard to eradicate due to peer-to-peer command structure, it caused untold financial losses through fraud. PC Optimizer Pro is rogue, optimization software that claims to speed up your system but often does the opposite. It scans for fake issues, demands payments to fix them, and can install more adware. Common in the 2010s, it's a classic scareware tactic preying on non-tech savvy users. Slammer, or SQL Slammer, exploded in 2003 as a tiny UDP worm hitting unpatched Microsoft SQL servers. It spread globally in minutes, doubling infections every 8.5 seconds, slowing the internet and crashing ATMs and airlines. No data destruction, but it exposed the fragility of network databases. You Are an Idiot, a browser-based annoyance from the early 2000s. It exploited JavaScript to open endless pop-ups saying, "You are an idiot," with bouncing smileys and sound. Hard to close without Task Manager, it was more than a prank than a virus. But variants evolved into real malware droppers. We've covered Tier 2, the surface waters, where things start to feel a bit more personal and tricky. Next, we head to Tier 2.5 and beyond, into even murkier territory. Moving into Tier 2.5, entering the water. As we submerge further, these threats become slightly more obscure, often lurking in niche software, games, or deceptive downloads. They're not everyday news, but they've affected specific communities or systems in unexpected ways. Let's explore them one by one. CryptoLocker from 2013 was one of the first major ransomware strains to demand Bitcoin payments. It encrypted victims' files using strong AES 256 encryption, then displayed a ransom note with a countdown timer. Spreading via email attachments and exploit kits, it extorted millions before being disrupted by law enforcement. But it paved the way for modern ransomware. Stoned, dating back to 1987, is an early boot sector virus from New Zealand that infected floppy disks. Upon booting, it displayed the message, "Your PC is now stoned," and could corrupt data or make systems unbootable, mostly a prank. It spread widely in the pre-internet era through shared disks. Crash Safari wasn't a traditional virus, but a 2015 to 2016 JavaScript exploit that crashed Apple's Safari browser on iOS and Mac devices by generating an endless string of characters in the address bar. It overwhelmed the browser's history function, forcing restarts. It often shared as a prank link on social media. The Morris Worm, released in 1988 by grad student Robert Tappan Morris, was one of the first internet's worms. It exploited vulnerabilities in Unix systems to replicate, slowing down thousands of machines and disrupting early internet traffic. Though not destructive, it led to the first US conviction under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Sonic Gaffer Battle is a 2017 Sonic fan game that hid malicious DRM code. If it detected attempts to hack or mod the game, such as searching for hack while running it, would kill browsers, store system hashes remotely, and blacklist the machine. Marked as harmless, it behaved like spyware to protect the creator's sprites. Ransomware, a 2017 ransomware variant, encrypts files but with a twist. Instead of payments, it required victims to achieve a high score of 200 millions in a game. Created as a joke by a developer who infected his own PC, it still demonstrated how ransomware could incorporate with gamified unlocks. MacKeeper is a Mac utility suite, often classified as potentially unwanted program, due to its aggressive pop-up ads and scare tactics, promising to clean and secure systems. It has been criticized for unnecessary scans, privacy invasions, and hard to uninstall components. It gained notoriety in the 2010s for bombarding users with misleading alerts. Coinfigure, emerging in 2008, was a sophisticated worm that infected millions of Windows machines by exploiting network vulnerabilities. It created massive botnets for potential spam or DDoS attacks and resisted removal by disabling security updates. Despite no major payload activation, it remains one of the largest known infections. Cursor Mania is a browser extension for custom cursor that often installs as adware or spyware. Popular in the early 2000s, it bundled with free downloads, changing cursors while injecting ads, tracking browsing, and slowing systems. It's a classic example of deceptive fun software hiding unwanted behavior. So Big from 2003 was an email worm that spread through attachments, disguised as important messages. It harvested email addresses from infected machines to spam further and could download additional malware. At its peak, it clogged inboxes worldwide, causing significant economic disruption. Emotet, first detected in 2014, started as a banking Trojan but evolved into a modular malware loader. Delivered via phishing emails with malicious attachments, it steals credentials, spreads laterally, and drops other threats like ransomware. It was taken down in 2021, but variants have resurfaced. Typo-squatting websites evolve registering domains like googie.com to mimic legitimate sites. These trap users mistyping URLs, leading to phishing pages, drive-by downloads, or malware installation. Common in the 2000s and beyond, they've been used to distribute adware or steal login data. Tiny Banker Trojan, or Tinba, appeared in 2012 as a compact banking malware under 20 kilobits. It injects into browsers to capture financial credentials during online banking sessions, targeting Windows users via exploit kits. It's known for its small size and evasion techniques. ES File Explorer, a once popular Android file manager faced backlash in 2019 for hidden adware and security flaws. It started an HTTP server in the background, exposing devices to attacks, and bundled aggressive ads. Google removed it from the Play Store amid privacy concerns. Butterfly on desktop poses as a fun app that spawns animated butterflies on your screen, allowing users to choose their number. In reality, it's spyware. The butterflies are code snippets that collect desktop data when they freeze. Uninstalling removes the visuals, but the core program lingers until fully scanned. Cheatbreaker is a Minecraft anti-cheat client for version 1.7 to 1.8, but unofficial downloads often contain malware. Legitimate versions took screenshots to detect cheats, raising spyware concerns, fake bundle trojans, or adware. The original project was discontinued, making most circulation files risky. .exe is a destructive Windows virus that plays a creepy color, shifting road video before rebooting and deleting desktop files, UVP apps, and disabling Task Manager. Around 66 MB, it renders systems unstable without stealing data. More chaos than theft. Recovery often requires safe mode or formatting. Cracked Roblox exploits are modified cheating tools for Roblox, frequently laced with malware. Downloaded from shady forums, they promise infinite Robux or God mode, but install keyloggers, steal accounts, or hijack devices. They've targeted young players, leading to widespread bans and data breaches. Lose Lose, a 2009 art game by Zach Gage, turns space invaders deadly. Each alien killed deletes a random file from your computer permanently, presented as a commentary on gaming violence. It's not traditional malware, but can cause real data loss if played unknowingly. Red Shell was a 2018 game analytics tool embedded in titles like Elder Scrolls Online, accused of spyware for tracking user data without clear consent. It collected install IDs and fingerprints for marketing, sparking backlash from removal after privacy outcry. Nexi Installer masquerades as a game recording software for sharing clips, but it's actually a keylogger and stealer. It modifies registry settings, disables proxies, and exfiltrates data linked to YouTube scams. It has been flagged for malicious activity in sandboxes. KingRoot is an Android routing app that grants super user access but often bundles adware or exploits. Popular in the 2010s, it poses security risks by opening devices to further malware and has been criticized for unauthorized data collection. Jerusalem from 1987 is an early file injector virus that slows systems and deletes executables on Friday the 13th. Named after its discovery location, it spread via infected programs and became a template for later variants. Cookie Monster virus from the 1970s on a Unix system was a harmless prank program permanently logged the terminal and repeatedly demanded "give me a cookie" until the user typed "cookie." It's an early example on non-destructive malware humor. ROMsmania is a ROM download site notorious for bundling malware in exe files instead of clean ROMs. Users reported adware, PUPs, and Trojans. Mobile downloads may be safer, but PC versions often led to infection via deceptive installers. That wraps up Tier 2.5, the point where the water starts to cloud. Deeper still, in Tier 3, we encounter even rarer and more puzzling entries. Moving into Tier 3, the middle of the iceberg, we are now in deeper territory, with threats that are more targeted, persistent, or tied to real-world exploits. These may not be household names, but they have caused significant damage in specific contexts or paved the way for modern cyber risk. Let's examine them. Starting with the Hidden Tier family, an open source ransomware project from 2015, intended as a proof of concept by a Turkish developer. It generates a symmetric AES key to encrypt files in a specific folder, defaulting to /test, then sends the key to a command and control server. While the original was educational, variants like NotPetya in 2017 caused billions in global damages by spreading rapidly and disrupting systems without easy decryption. Beirotes, a 1993 DOS virus from Spain, infects COM and exe files, residing in memory and intercepting interrupts. It lies dormant until January 5, when it overrides the master boot record, displaying vertical bars like a prison cell, and rendering the disk unbootable. Variants like Beirotes 1303 added visual effects, making it a classic early destructive payload. Arctic Bomb refers to archive bombs or decompression bombs, like those exploiting zip or other formats. These are small files that when unpacked expand massively, up to gigabytes or even petabytes, causing system crashes or denial of service by overwhelming resources. Not traditionally malware, but used in attacks to disable antivirus scanners or fill storage. On the Fly, better known as the Anna Konikova worm from 2001, is a VB script email worm created by a Dutch student using a toolkit. It spreads via enticing attachments promising celebrity photos, infecting contacts, and connecting to a website on January 26. While harmless beyond replication, it clogged networks and highlighted social engineering risks. Spy Sheriff, a mid-2000s rogue antivirus, poses as security software but uses scare tactics like fake scans and alerts to demand payments for fixes. It installs via bundles or exploits, blocks tools like Task Manager, and resists removal by nesting in system restore folders. A classic example of scareware preying on fear. Yahoo Powered is a browser hijacker that redirects searches to Yahoo's engine, often bundled with freeware or installed via deceptive sites. It alters settings, injects ads, persists through registry changes, leading to unwanted tracking and slower browsing, more of a persistent nuisance than a destructive threat. Download.com and download.cnet.com aren't always malware, but have a notorious history of bundling legitimate software with adware, toolbars, or PUPs in the 2000s to 2010s. Downloads often include unwanted extras like browser hijackers, turning a trusted site into a vector for infections, highlighting risks of third-party download portals. Hummingbird, an Android malware from 2016, roots devices to gain admin privileges, then displays ads, install apps including pornographic ones, and generates fraud revenue. At its peak, it infected 1.4 million devices daily, earning creators up to $500,000 daily through click fraud, part of the Humming family tied to Chinese developers. SpyEye, a 2009 banking Trojan, steals credentials via keylogging, screenshots, and form grabbing during online sessions. Sold on underground forums for more than $500. It builds botnets for fraud, with variants evading detections through small size, under 20 kilobytes, responsible for hundreds of millions in losses before takedowns. 32.zip is a classic zip bomb, 42 kilobit file that decompresses to a 4.5 petabytes through recursive nesting of compressed data. It crashes systems by overwhelming memory or storage during extraction. Not a virus, but a denial of service tool, often used to disable antivirus scanners or test decompression limits. Yaha, a 2002 email worm, spreads via attachments disguised as important messages, harvesting addresses and launching DDoS attacks. Variants like yaha.e add keylogging and backdoors, causing disruptions through spam overload. Parts of the early worm families targeting Windows. Adult Swine, a 2018 Android malware hidden in 60 Google Play games, downloaded 3 to 7 million times, displays porn ads, pushes fake security apps, and signs up for premium services, aimed at kids' apps. It uses scareware and credential theft, removed by Google after discovery. Michelangelo, a 1991 boot sector virus, infects floppies and hides until March 6, overwriting critical data and causing widespread panic in 1992. Predicted hit, millions but affected few. It spreads via shared disks, marking an early media-hyped threat. Poison Ivy, a 2005 threat, provides full remote control via keylogging, screen, video capture, file transfer and more, used in targeted attacks like Nitro 2011. It's configurable for espionage, discontinued but variants persist. Dark Comet, a 2008 threat by a French developer, enables webcam, microphone spying, keylogging and DDoS, used in Syrian surveillance 2012. It led to discontinuation, still a common tool in underground forums. Melting Screen, a 2000 email worm, spreads as a screensaver attachment, renaming exes to bin and displaying a melting effect. Buggy and disruptive, it hangs systems, early Visual Basic malware. Pegasus, NSO Group spyware since 2011. Uses zero-click exploits for iOS, Android surveillance, stealing data like messages and location, tied to a state abuse. It's hard to detect, targeted at activists and officials. L-Cloner, the 1982 Apple II virus, by a teen prankster, spreads via floppies, displaying a poem every fifth boot. First in a wild virus, it inspired early antiviruses, harmless but a milestone. Nava Shield, a 2000s rogue antivirus, fakes scans and alerts to demand payment, blocking tools and resisting removal, bundled with freeware. It's scareware, part of the early rogue security trends. Idlebody, a 2018 PUP crypto miner, uses idle CPU and GPU for mining, slowing systems without consent, spreads via bundles, earning devs revenue, often undetected until performance drops. Brontalk, a 2005 worm, spreads via email and networks, disabling antiviruses, terminating apps and restarting on tool launches. Variants add DDoS, persistence and evasion on Windows. Low-key 2016 ransomware encrypts files with ASA and RSA via mail spam attachments, demanding Bitcoin. Offline capable, it hit hospitals and is part of the Icarus botnet campaigns. Brain. The 1986 boot sector virus by Pakistani brothers infects floppies to deter piracy, displaying contact info. First PC virus, non-destructive but spread widely. A Dark Place, a 2018 meta horror game, uses joke malware for scares, like screen effects and shutdowns. Harmless but flagged by AV, blurring game malware lines. Sidor, 1997. Adware by Claria, formerly Gator. Bundles with freeware, tracking browsers for targeted ads. Collects data like IPs. It's an early behavior marketing tool. Heartbleed, a 2014 OpenSSL bug. CVE 2014-0160 leaks memory up to 64 kilobit per attack, exposing key and data. Affected 17% of secure sites. Patched, but legacy risks remain. Hammer, a 2015 Android Trojan, routes devices for ads, app installs and fraud, infecting 1.4 million daily at peak. Chinese origin. Data heavy, earned $500,000 a day with click fraud. Grand Crab ransomware, a 2018 ransomware as a service, encrypts with AES and RSA, demanding Dash. Affiliates earn 60%. It hit millions, although free decryptor after shutdowns are available. Claria Corporation, ex-Gator, a 1998 ad firm, made tools like Gain for behavioral ads, tracking users bundled with freeware. They faced lawsuits and shut down in 2008. Coopface, a 2008 worm, spreads via social media links like Facebook or MySpace, stealing logins and building botnets for fraud. The Russian gang earned millions, and they were exposed in 2012. Finally, Meltdown and Spectre, 2018 CPU flaws, CVEs 2017-5754-5715-5753 enable inside channel attacks, leaking kernel memory, affecting Intel, AMD and ARM, patched with performance hits. Moving into Tier 3.5, the Dark Waters. These entries are harder to track down, often with spare details in public records. These lurk in targeted attacks, niche platforms, or forgotten corners of the web. Blending persistence with subtlety, let's shed light on them. Starting with LoveYou, a lesser known variant echoing the infamous I Love You worm from the 2000s. It spreads via email attachments disguised as confessions, overwriting files and self-propagating through contacts, causing data loss on infected systems. WannaLocker, emerging in 2017, mimics WannaCry's interface as Android ransomware. It encrypts external storage files and demands payment, often bundled in fake apps like game plugins targeting users in China and beyond. Onion Duke, active from 2013 to 2015, is an APT tool linked to Miniduke campaigns, distributed via Tor nodes or tempered torrents. It steals data and enables further compromises. Reportedly used against European governments. Graphictoria appears as a false positive in some antivirus scans for an old Roblox revival client. While not true malware, unofficial downloads can bundle risks, but legitimate versions are harmless throwbacks. The Kill AV family consists of Trojans from the mid-2000s designed to disable antivirus processes. They terminate security tools, open backdoors, and evade detections, often adding other malware in persistent infections. JustGetALook.com is a browser hijacker from around 2019, redirecting searches to Yahoo while injecting ads. It bundles with freeware, alters settings, and tracks browsing, but removal restores normal functionality. Israbai, spotted in 2017, is an anti-Israel wiper, posing as ransomware. It overwrites files with messages instead of encrypting, rendering data unrecoverable, and spreads via RDP vulnerabilities. Illimitado shows limited traces, possibly an obscure or misnamed entry with sparse documentation. No major outbreak noted, but it may refer to rare Trojans or PUPs, lacking widespread impact. Image 0942 from 2016 is a JavaScript exploit crashing Safari on iOS or Mac via endless address bar strings, shared as a prank links. It forces restarts but causes no permanent harm. Satana, a 2016 ransomware, encrypts files and the MBR, demanding payments for its recovery. It spreads via mail spam, blending bootlocker tactics with file encryption for dual disruption. Cola, first seen in 2014, is Android police ransomware, locking screens with fake finds. It spreads via porn sites, mimicking law enforcement to extort payments. Angry Duck from 2016 is a ransomware demanding 10 bitcoins after encrypting files with AES. It changes wallpapers to a duck image, but decryption tools may recover data without paying. My Life, a 2002 worm, emails itself while deleting files on certain dates. It displays Bill Gates caricatures in variants, causing data loss and spreading via Outlook. Kimoji, an Android adware from 2015, routes devices to serve ads and install apps, affecting millions. It generates fraud revenue, often hiding in repackaged popular apps. Futuro Antivirus, a 2004 rogue antivirus that fakes scans to scare users into payments. It blocks tools and resists removal, preying on non-experts with misleading alerts. Saturn Ransomware from 2018 encrypts files with .saturn extensions and demands varying ransoms. Offered as a ransom as a service, it deletes, shadows and disables repair for persistence. Groovorio.com is a 2014 to 2015 hijacker that redirects to Yahoo while injecting ads. Bundled with freeware, it tracks browsing, but it's removable via browser's reset. Navidad from 2000 is a worm emailing navidad.exe attachments. It corrupts exe files, displaying errors in Spanish messages, potentially rendering systems unusable. Finobi flags as a PUP in some scans for an old Roblox revival site or client. While not malicious, shady downloads risk bundles, but core versions are safe, nostalgia tools. LowkeyBot, since 2015, is an info stealer targeting credentials from browsers, emails and apps. Sold cheaply on forums, it persists via mail spam and evolves with modules. OIE-TIF, an unreleased Trojan prototype from 2019, aims at hardware damages like the CIH. Split into effects and custom kernel, it's a proof of concept for destructive payloads. Freedom from 2016 is a ransomware that changes the file permission instead of encrypting, demanding a payment. A password that is called ADEM unlocks it, but variants may differ. Chrome.exe *32 often signals POW likes. A 2014 Trojan running processes to evade detections. It enables adware, data theft, and further infections. Creag, an Android app cracker from the 2010s, bypasses in-app purchases, flagged as PUP for illegality. It's not destructive, but risks device security. Data crime from 1989 is an early virus formatting drives after October 12, hyped as Columbus Day virus. It caused panic despite limited spread. iKey, a 2009 iPhone worm, targets jailbroken devices with default passwords. It changes wallpapers to Rick Astley, proving mobile vulnerability. AIDS 2 from 1990 is a companion virus creating COM files to run before exes. It plays tones and displays messages, infecting without altering originals. IXI Anti-Pawn from 2017 exploits iOS profiles to flood screens with icons, crashing devices. Spread as a fake jailbreak. It's a prank turned nuisance. Warrior, a 2005 Symbian worm, spreads via Bluetooth and MMS. It sends random files, draining batteries and credits. Monopoly, a 1999 VBS worm, emails itself while displaying Bill Gates' Monopoly parodies. It deletes files on reboots, taunting Microsoft. TheSerials.com, a ROM site from the 2000s to 2010s, bundles malware in exes. Users report adware and trojans, making PC downloads risky. That concludes Tier 3.5. Elusive threats, blending evasion and impact. Deeper into Tier 4, the bottom approaches with even rarer finds. Moving into Tier 4, the bottom of the iceberg. We've reached the base of the visible structure, where entries are rare, poorly documented, and often tied to forgotten platforms or bizarre behaviors. These lurk in the old archives or niche communities, making verification tough, but they represent the weird underbelly of malware history. Let's uncover what we can. Bash.exe, a destructive executable from the early 2000s, playing a looping video of color shifting road before rebooting the system and deleting desktop files, UVP apps, and disabling Task Manager. Around 66 MB in size, it causes chaos without data theft, often requiring safe mode, recovery, or full reformats. More a system wrecker than a thief. Photospose.zip is a 2007 MSN Messenger worm that spreads via instant messages, disguising itself as a photo attachment. Once opened, it infects contacts, downloads additional Trojans and can bundle up to 9 malicious codes, leading to widespread compromises in chat networks. Cool Notepad appears in discussion of prank VBS scripts and batch files mimicking viruses, often shutting down systems or displaying fake error messages. While not always malicious, variants can delete files or simulate destructive behavior, used for trolling in the 2010s. xd.batch is a batch file with Trojan from around 2024, tagged for evasion tactics like modifying file attributions, executing PowerShell commands, and using base64 encoding. It runs suspicious processes to persist, often flagged as malicious in sandboxes, for its stealthy operations. The View subfamily, peaking in 2015 to 2016, is a major mobile ransomware strain affecting Android devices, often via porn sites or fake apps. It locks screens with fake finds, demands payments, and shares code similarities with the small family, hitting over 56% of mobile ransomware victims at its height. The HLLO family, also known as the Hello Kitty or Hello XD, is a ransomware from 2019 onward that encrypts files with .crypted or .kitty extensions, while dropping backdoors for espionage. Linked to attacks on organizations, it evolves quickly, exploiting vulnerabilities like SharePoint flaws and incorporating red capabilities. CDEjack.d or joke VBS-CDEjack.d is a 2010s VBS script prank that ejects all CD-ROM trays repeatedly as a harmless joke. Detected as a low-threat nuisance, it can perform other actor, chosen actions if modified, often bundled in deceptive files like nouveau, document, txt.vbs. Crazy Boot, a 1995 DOS boot sector virus, corrupts diskettes due to coding bugs, infecting hard drives only on boot attempts. It spreads via floppies, causing data loss, and highlights the era's reliance on physical media for propagation. Solano 2000 from 1990s California is a .com file infector that installs memory resident on first execution, adding code to files and potentially corrupting them. Variants like dyslexia prepend 101991 bytes, making it a generic but stealthy threat from early virus families. CPV or backdoor win32-agent.cpv from 2007 is a Trojan that opens backdoors for remote control, often evading detections through small-size variants like js-agent.cpv act as droppers, enabling further infection or data exfiltration. Groovy, a 1990 DOS file virus from Germany, used as a modified Dark Avenger mutation engine for polymorphic encryption, as one of the first to employ advanced obfuscation. It infects executables evading early scanners. Toil, from the 2000s, is a mass mailing worm that performs actor-chosen actions like spreading via email. It highlights the blend of automation and manual toil in early malware persistence. BIOS meningitis, a 1990s multi-part infector, targets floppy boot sectors, hard drives, MBRs, and even flash BIOS, possibly the first BIOS virus. It uses stealth to hide infections, potentially breaking hardware if not removed carefully. Twitch Booster, a 2010s French origin prank virus remade in variants like Twitch Booster Buyback v6, Cactus.exe, spreads as a fake booster but executes malicious code. Flagged for evasion, it can terminate processes or display Cactus theme effects, often tied to gaming communities. Computer parasite refers to parasitic viruses, a broad category that attaches files or programs to spread, like file infectors altering executables, common in early malware. They replicate without users' notice, embodying the parasite, the nature of viruses. Lama Exterminator, a 1989 Amiga boot block virus from Germany, spreads via floppies and overwrites disks, while displaying taunting messages like "Something wonderful has happened. Your Amiga is alive." It erases data on reboots, targeting lamers in the hacker scene. Atari ST viruses encompass early threats from the 1980s to 90s, like Ghost, which inverts mouse axis, or Signum, which is displaying bombs. Affecting floppy-based systems, they spread via shared disks, with over 50 known variants, disrupting the ST, TT and Falcon platforms. Commodore 64 viruses starting with 9088s. BHP, the first C64 virus, include destructive like HIV, infecting RAM and disks, or Beulah, spreading via files. Rare due to the era's hardware, they cause files corruption or system hangs on the popular 8-bit machine. Cancer ransomware from the 2010s to 2020s targets healthcare systems, as seen in attacks on cancer centers like Cork University Hospital or Highland Oncology. It encrypts patient data, delaying treatment and causing real-world harm, with groups like Conti or Akira behind variants. Bunana from 2010 is a Java-based Trojan for Macs, spreading via social media as a fake video link. It downloads payloads to steal credentials, marking an early wave of Mac-targeted social engineering malware. Circrush.b, a 2011 to 2014 Android exploit tool, roots devices by leveraging CVE 2011 3874 for privileges escalation, often used by owners for customization. Malicious variants enable spyware installation or unauthorized access. SpongeBob Screen Toys, a 2000s freeware desktop toy from Think Desktop, features animated SpongeBob characters, but is flagged as adware or spyware in variants. Bundled versions track user data or inject ads, turning fun into a privacy risk. Burger, a 1986 virus by Ralph Burger, infects multiple file formats like COM and exe, demonstrating early polymorphic techniques. Created as a proof of concept in his book, Computer Viruses, a high-tech disease. It's a milestone in virus research. Finally, Icelandic likely refers to a rare or region-specific threat, such as the 2023 to 2025 ransomware surges in Iceland, doubling annually and affecting institutions like universities, with over 1,700 cases yearly. They evolve tools like Remcos for data theft, tied to groups like Akira. Moving into Tier 5, Total Darkness, we've reached the deepest void of the iceberg, where threats are shrouded in mysteries, with minimal records or whispers in old forums. These are the ghosts of malware. Rare, barely documented, and sometimes verging on legends. Information is fragmented, but here's what surfaces from the shadows. Starting with M-Milker, a cryptic mining virus that hijacks systems to mine cryptocurrency silently. Detected in isolated cases around 2024. It disguises itself as a system process, draining CPU resources without obvious signs, often flagged in antivirus scans, but with little public detail on its origin or spread. Urkel, a boot sector virus from the early 1990s, infects floppy disks and hard drive master boot records, named after the quirky TV character. It overrides partitions, rendering drives inaccessible, and spreads via shared media. A relic of DOS era, threads with spare surviving samples. Lolpic appears as a deceptive image viewer or prank tool, but variants bundle malware that crashes browser or spread worms. Linked to early 2000s exploits, it lures users with funny pics only to inject adware or steal data, though exact mechanics remain poorly archived. MyCameraWare is a spyware that covertly accesses webcams and microphones, often bundled in free camera apps. Emerging in the 2010s, it records without consent, raising privacy alarms. But its low profile means few removal guides exist, beyond general anti-spyware advice. Timophonica, a 2000 mailworm from Spain, marks an early mobile crossover by sending prank SMS to random phones via infected PCs, disguised as a complaint against telecoms and clocked networks, but it didn't self-replicate on mobiles, a precursor to modern hybrid threats. BAT probably refers to a batch file virus, simple scripts that automate destructive like formatting drives or dropping payloads. From the 1990s onward, they are used to craft but deadly in chains, with variants like BatLoader evolving into sophisticated droppers for ransomware. The Semi-Worm, unleashed in 2005 on MySpace. It was the fastest spreading virus ever, infecting over 1 million profiles in hours via XSS exploits. Created by a teen hacker, it auto-handed friends and displayed messages, crashing the site and reshaping web security. FOMO Play linked to Play ransomware from 2022, encrypts files and demands payment while exploiting FOMO in phishing lures. As a ransomware as a service, it targets enterprises with double extortion, but its variants blend into gaming scams, with scarce takedown details. WorkHomeDream.net is a deceptive site or hijacker from the 2020s, pushing fake work-from-home schemes laced with adware. It triggers pop-ups claiming virus infections to scare users into downloads, but its origins and full impact remain undocumented in major databases. Mikey, a 2009 Twitter worm by a Brooklyn teen, spread 10,000 tweets exploiting XSS flaws. It posted self-promoting messages on profiles, taunting celebs, and led to job offers for its creators. An early social media plug with echoes in the modern platform hacks. RotPro, a 2013 Trojan family, masquerades as browser protectors but installs unwanted add-ons. It tricks users into securing their systems only to enable more malware, spiking infections in Windows machines during its peak. V32 LeChuck, named after a video game pirate, is a destructive worm from the 2000s that overwrites files and spreads via networks. It launches chaotic payloads like system crashes, evoking its fictional namesakes, undead antics, but details are thin beyond removal guides. Abscess, with elusive traces, may refer to a fictional or prototype virus, like in-game inspired threats, for example, Abscess from Resident Evil simulations. Sparse reports suggest file corruption in old systems, but it could be a misnomer or lost experiment from the 2000s. Japanese Christmas Cookie, a 1989 DOS file injector rampant in Japan, overrides executables and displays holiday-themed messages. Confined mostly to that region, it spread via shared programs, representing early cultural-specific malware with limited global records. Skippy, a 2007 Skype worm, sends chat links to infected contacts, promising images but drops Trojans. It bubbles messages like soap, draining resources and evading early detections. A true forgotten IM threat in the early voice over IP era. And that's pretty much the bottom of the barrel. Tier 5, where the digital abyss stares back. We've hacked our way through the whole iceberg, from those headlines, horror, up to these shadow relics down there. Stay vigilant out there, one wrong click and you might just summon something from the deep. Thanks for joining the dive. What's the creepiest virus story you've got? Drop it in the comments, and who knows, maybe I'll make the next iceberg.